What up, though, YouTube? So we're back with the part three to Ashley Elkins preliminary hearing of day 3, and we're doing the testimony of Detective Les Burns, who's on the stand. This is the last
report saying that Ashley was being held at a residence on Eileen Street in Detroit.
I was made aware of that after January 4th, my knowledge, sir.
Do you know whether or not the City of Detroit Police Department went out to that address to check to see if Ashley Elkins was there?
Yes, they did.
All right. And were you aware that they weren't allowed to enter the home by whoever was?
That's correct, sir.
Residing? Okay. Do you know whether or not any of those police officers from the City of Detroit contacted officers from your department about whether or not they wanted to issue a search warrant for that location in Detroit to find Ms. Elkins?
I believe we were contacted. We just didn't feel that there was enough evidence to support a search warrant or obtain a search warrant to go into the residence of Eileen Street just by someone's word of mouth saying she was there.
Did you make that decision, or did somebody else at your department make that decision?
I did not make that decision, sir.
You know if it was Sergeant Truella?
No, sir. I couldn't tell you who made that decision. I would be the one that would draft the search warrant if we were to go in that house on Eileen Street. I was never told to do so.
Okay. Do you know if somebody at your department contacted the officers in Detroit that afternoon and told them specifically, no, we're not coming out?
I don't recall if they did.
Now, I'm looking at your report, and it looks like it's written in chronological order.
Correct.
So, am I correct in that?
Yes, sir.
As much as you could?
Yes,
do it that way. And I see that after you, would I be correct in stating that the Roseville police officers on January 4th went into Mr. Booker's apartment sometime in the afternoon, about 2:30, 2:40 in the afternoon?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. And that you went in with a search warrant on January 4th sometime around 8 o'clock that evening, correct?
I couldn't tell you the exact time. I just know it was the evening of January 4th. That's it.
And after you had, you were present when the officers were executing the search warrant, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And after you got done collecting any evidence or looking around, you did also look for some video ring camera, correct?
Yes, sir.
That took some time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, watching some video from that evening, it looks like you leave the apartment complex sometime close to 9 o'clock at night on January 4th.
To be honest with you, sir, I don't remember the time. It could be 9 o'clock. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. And then you went back to the Roseville Police Department, correct?
Yes, sir. After the search warrant was completed, we got done speaking with the neighbor who held the ring footage. Myself and Detective Lieutenant Beamer went back to the Roseville Police Department. That is correct.
All right. And is that when you first called DeAndre Booker? Is that your first call to him?
Correct.
So it was sometime later in the evening after 9 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
And that call was recorded, correct?
Yes, sir. Okay.
And would I be correct in stating that based upon the search warrant and the evidence that was found on the search warrant on the night of January 4th, that DeAndre Booker had become a suspect in the disappearance of Ms. Elkins?
At that time, he was not a suspect yet. No, sir.
And when you called him on January 4th, you were calling him in response to his call to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department earlier in the day, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And in fact, one of the first things you say on that recording is that I'm calling about you stated someone may have been broken into your apartment. You think it is your ex-girlfriend's family, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And at that,
We're going to take a break from this case at 3 o'clock. I have 2 other matters I have to take, so 5 more minutes.
and when you had this first conversation with Mr. Booker, he was complaining to you about all these people coming in and out of this apartment, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And he told you specifically that they went inside his apartment without his consent, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you started to question him about Ashley and what time she may have come over and what time she may have left, correct?
Yes, sir.
What's going on, Natasha? What up, though? Appreciate you pulling up.
And did he tell you during that conversation that he had the maintenance guy there waiting to lock the door, but they wouldn't let him do it because they said it was a crime investigation?
He did make that utterance to me. Yes, sir.
And you asked him if, to his knowledge, and you asked him where he was, correct?
Yes,
In
sir.
that first conversation?
Yes, sir.
And he told you that he was in Flint?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you asked him about whether or not he knew if Ashley was driving a silver car, and he told you that as far as he knows, yes?
Correct.
And were you trying to get Mr. Booker to come and meet with you in that first conversation by telling him, hey, I agree with you, they shouldn't, that was illegal for them to enter into your apartment, and we'll pursue charges for that, but you got to come in and meet with me so we can file a formal complaint, correct?
That's correct.
Did he also tell you during that first conversation that he was leaving his apartment because he was getting evicted because he had been laid off and hadn't paid rent in a couple months?
That's correct, sir.
And is it true that some of your officers found an eviction notice in his apartment when they searched it?
I believe they did. Yes, sir.
And you also let Mr. Booker know in that conversation that you guys had found some blood in his apartment, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you told him that there's little bits of blood drops at the bottom of the cabinet in the bathroom, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there looks like a little smear on the wall, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you told him that the blood looks old to you, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Mr. Winnick, I want to take a break. Just because I have the jail waiting for us and a few others, so
That's
we'll
fine.
come back in 10-15 minutes.
Well, part of this cross-examination, I feel like it's not going well. He's pretty much not trying to challenge the evidence. He's only reiterating the evidence that he found, which really doesn't do his client any good. You know, just my opinion. That's the one thing that you will want to eliminate in a trial is the evidence that he found or testimony, same thing. But he's not even doing that. He's just confirming what was found and what was said, but no defense because we pretty much know he's guilty. All right, let me fast forward this to when they come back from break. Hold on. All right, so now they're having a sidebar. I'll just wait from right here. Wait.
And you also told Mr. Booker during that conversation that the blood found in his house looked old. In your opinion, it was old as fuck, correct?
If those were my exact words, yes, sir.
Okay. And you also told him that, that could be 5 years old, correct?
Correct, sir.
You also told him a couple times that there was no sign of a forced entry into his home, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. I'm going to show you just a little clip of, a video that I showed to Officer Nabasny, I believe. Yeah. And this is, I believe, from the afternoon of January 4th. Please hold it there. Now, I'm looking at the deadbolt area and the metal plate there. That looks like it's unhinged and broken, correct?
It looks broken. The door does, yes, sir.
And the wood on the door looks like it's split right there by the deadbolt, correct?
It does, sir.
Okay. So that would be evidence of that door.
Just an update, who we have on the stand is the officer in charge of the case of Ashley Elkins, who went missing back in January of 2025 this year, who was believed to be unalive by her ex-boyfriend. The detective Lesperance is the final witness, I believe, on the stand. His testimony was quite lengthy. I did like 3 different parts. It'll be a playlist added eventually once I get done with day 4, which is, I believe, tomorrow. Right now, we're just going over the cross-examination. This is in a picture of the defendant's home, his apartment door that he believed was broken into. And when they called police, this is how it looked before they got in.
Or being possibly kicked in or forced open, correct?
At some point in time, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, according to your report, the door was ajar and open on the evening of January 3rd when officers from Roseville first went into the apartment, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And according to the officers who went in the afternoon of January 4th, same thing, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Hit the like button if you don't mind as well. If you're in the bushes, appreciate you. Do have a YouTube go.
So it could have been broken by
No, man,
somebody
it's
earlier than 7 o'clock in the evening on January 3rd, correct?
It could have been. Correct.
In terms of how people got into his apartment?
When I went there to perform the first search warrant, I did not find any wood shavings or any indication indicating to me that it was a fresh B&E, so to speak, sir. So the time frame in which the door was damaged or kicked in per se, I could not tell you.
And you looked around the apartment pursuant to the search warrant in the evening of January 4th yourself, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And did you remember remarking to, I believe it was, I don't know if it was Lieutenant, but Officer Beamer, when you saw the blood smear in the hallway, did you say, well, like you said, it could be from fucking anything?
That's correct, sir.
And that's the only spot that you saw, correct?
That's the only spot that I noticed myself, sir. That wasn't pointed out by Officer Nabozny or Officer Byerski.
And when you talked with Mr. Booker the second time, would I be correct in stating that your call to him was at approximately 6:25 in the evening on January 6th?
I don't recall what time it was, but the date of January 6th is correct.
Okay, I'm looking at my I guess discovery package with the recording a phone call.
I trust you. If you say it's 6:25, that sounds accurate.
Okay. And he told you that I don't know if you mentioned it. I think you said that where did he leave it? You asked him where did he leave his gun, correct?
Correct.
All right. And he told you that he usually keeps his gun next to his bed, correct?
That's correct.
But that's not where it was found.
Correct.
It was found underneath his couch in the living room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I take it during your conversations, he had told you that him and Ashley had been together for almost a year or around a year.
The time frame, I'd have to refer to my report, but it wasn't a long relationship, correct?
Yeah, sometime a year, and he said that they had broken up in September
Correct, sir.
of 2024.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he also told you that she was boyfriend, girlfriend, that she spent time at his apartment, right?
That's correct, sir.
And I'm sure you didn't get into too many details about how much time, or if she was there every night, or every week, et cetera, correct?
No, sir, I did not.
Now, when you started looking for, like you said, Ring cameras and also some Ring doorbells, you found something that showed somebody who looked like Mr. Booker, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you thought that some of the clothing of the person in these surveillance videos, particularly the apartment videos, matched kind of the description of the clothes that you found on him or in his possession in Flint, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. But I would be correct in stating that at least in the videos that I've seen, whether it be Motor City Pawn, well, for instance, let's start Motor City Pawn, you can't see the person's face at all, correct?
No, sir, you can't see his
You
face.
can't tell if the person in the Motor City Pawn videos is white or black, correct?
I would say that the person in the Motor City Pond video is black. He's a black male.
That you believe that. But
Correct.
You can't really see that in the actual video, correct?
In my training and experience in working with Motor City Pawn and reviewing video footage at their facility before, I can depict between a white and black male on their video footage, yes, sir.
Okay. And you think that's the same with the video from the apartment? You can tell it's a black male, correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. But there's not enough of a facial there to conclusively, when you looked at it, to conclusively conclude that it's DeAndre Booker, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And I'm assuming that you piece it together as being DeAndre after you collect the clothes in Flint, correct?
Clothes, his pinging of his cell phone, and the inconsistencies in his stories to me that would depict him being at the Hampton Court Apartments.
Now, I think it was Detective Moran
out there.
who was testifying earlier last week or whatever. He said that the pings on the phones, they're not exact locations, correct?
Certain pings have certain radiuses than others, correct?
Right, and I know he said that some pings of whether it was Ashley's phone were around the 11 Mile and Gratiot area with different radiuses ranging from 500 meters to over 3,000 meters, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And when you say that Mr. Booker's pings on his phone were showing that he was at his apartment, it just shows that he's in that kind of range of his apartment, correct?
I would say yes and no, sir. So Detective Moran would be better to speak with on that in terms of like the radius. But as far as a pinpointed exact location, a cell phone ping would not give you that.
Okay. Now, you also testified that there were active pings to Kelly Beauty Supply from Mr. Booker's phone and from Ashley's phone at the same time.
Yes, sir.
And again, would that be within a radius of the shopping center on Gratiot near Fraser?
Yes, sir.
So it could be in that same radius of 500 meters to 3,300 meters that Detective Moran talked about?
Correct, sir. I don't know if both of those pings would register off the same tower or not. I'm not
And the
against it.
pings wouldn't actually show Kelly Beauty Salon.
Correct. It's not a pinpointed exact location to the exact longitude, latitude. It's just a generalized area.
When you said that at some point in time, Warren police had an eye on the apartment up in Flint.
Correct, sir.
Do you know when that kind of like surveillance started?
It probably started the moment that Warren PD obtained the search warrant for the cell phone pings of DeAndre Booker. If I had to definitively say, I could not tell you exactly.
But Mr. Booker had told you as early as, just sometime after 9 o'clock at night on January 4th that he was in Flint. Your first phone.
First phone call, yes, sir. That's correct.
Is that when you or the Warren detective started trying to find his cell phone location?
Warren PD already had it prior to Roseville PD having it, so they already obtained his cell phone pings through a search warrant before.
Okay, so they can when he told you that he was in Flint, you kind of checked with Warren and confirmed that they had him in that location
Yes, sir.
too. Okay.
It's really hard for the defense to challenge his testimony because everything was airtight. When you look at overall of the 4 days of the preliminary, they had so much overwhelming evidence that pointed towards the defendant. It was like a lot of people said they really didn't need to go to trial because this was only the preliminary, but it was so much evidence that pointed towards him, the defendant. So it was just like he really can't really question, whether you had a warrant, whether if it was tampered with, whether if he was on video footage, whether that was him in the clothes or anything like that, his identity, because everything was already confirmed that it was, including his Google searches. So it's like so much was pointing towards his direction. It's just like you really can't argue with it. So you just only can confirm, what did happen and this happened if this happened, but he can't really defend it or defute it.
And I would be correct in stating that, you said you first went up to Flint on, am I correct, January 7th?
That's correct, sir.
So you listen to his wordplay, his questioning. He's just confirming what was done. He's not really arguing, well, this wasn't done correctly. He's not challenging anything. He's just pretty much confirming what was done. And that's pretty much that's all he can do based on what they've already shown in the previous days.
And at that time, you spoke with Mr. Booker, and you didn't have a warrant for his arrest at that time, correct? Just to search that location for clothes belonging to him?
That's correct, sir. It was an evidentiary search warrant.
And to get his cell phone, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And you said you tried to talk to him, but you said because he was in kind of custody there, like when we look at that picture of him sitting on the bed, he's in handcuffs, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, so you gave him Miranda warnings before you started questioning him at the Flint address, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and because you knew you couldn't talk to him unless you had given those, he had waived those rights, correct?
That's correct.
And he told you that at that time he wanted a lawyer and you ceased your questioning, correct?
That's correct.
Oh, you got no other information from him during that trip up to Flint, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I assume that these reports that we have regarding the DNA, blood analysis, the analysis of the bullet, those don't come until way after Mr. Booker's arrested, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And in fact, you kind of, after your trip up to Flint, you left him at the Flint location, correct?
The first time, yes, sir.
Yeah. And, but people were watching to make sure he didn't leave that location, right? Warren and some officers from either Flint or Genesee County were there to make sure that he didn't take off from that location, correct?
I don't recall entirely after the first search warrant, the evidentiary search warrant was completed, if we maintained an eye on him. I'd have to double check my notes and things of that nature. So.
Yeah. And didn't you actually, like the person who he was staying with, did you talk to her that day?
I did not speak with Brandy other than on the phone the one time. There was other officers or other members of the Roseville Police Department that spoke with Brandy.
And would I be correct in saying that was like, I don't know if it was detective or Officer Sadler had a conversation with Brandy that day?
That's correct.
Okay. And it was the next day, January 8th, that you obtained a warrant for his arrest for the charge of lying to you.
Correct, sir.
Okay. And that's when you went back up and arrested him.
That's correct, sir.
And then it was sometime after January 8th that you got a warrant to arrest him for the charges, the main charges of being involved in the disappearance of Ms. Elkins, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Now, I know you already kind of read, I believe it was the report, and it might be 94. That was the one about the bullet.
Oh, yeah.
And could you pull that up, please? If you could.
Or did you want to just give him?
Now, that report is dated February 7th, or actually it's dated February 27th of 2025, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And my understanding is that at some point in time, it might have been January 30th, I can't recall the exact date, that one of the prior officers who testified said that they had went in there to Mr. Booker's apartment with a plumber to take the drain pipes, kind of out to see if there's anything caught in like the J, what do they call it? J trap or whatever.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that was sometime at the end of January.
Correct, sir.
And part of what they found in that was make sure I get this right. There were some clumps of hair, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And looked like maybe with the clumps of hair, may have been some kind of skin or tissue.
It was what we believe to be skin or tissue.
Okay. And I would be correct in stating that the hair and tissue was sent for an evaluation to see if it could be identified as human hair, correct?
Correct, sir.
All right. And the person who did that evaluation was the Macomb County Medical Examiner, Ms. Petrangelo, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what I I would be correct in stating, I'm gonna hand this to you and I'll just mark it as defendant's exhibit B or whatever we're on. You received an email from Dr. Petrangelo about what her evaluation showed you on the clump of hair or tissue found in the J-trap of the Mr. Booker's apartment, correct?
Are you referring to what Officer Nabozny pulled out during our search warrant on Saturday, the first Saturday, the very first search warrant?
No, I'm talking about what was found in the drains.
Okay, so what we turned over to, and what you're speaking of to Ms. Petrangelo, was what Officer Nabozny recovered from the drain during the search warrant, first search warrant. That's the only thing I showed.
I'm gonna just, I know I have a photograph of that.
It's reflected in People's 35.
Is that number 35?
You want to put it up on the screen? Yes. He was referencing the clump of hair. I thought there was another exhibit that could show it. Is that what you're asking about, Mr. Lee?
That's Dr. Petrangelo. This is what was in Dr. Petrangelo.
This was what was referred to Dr. Petrangelo, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you got an email from her on the exhibit I just gave you saying that, in her opinion, that was not, she was not able to identify that as any kind of human tissue, correct?
Correct, sir. Under the microscope, under low power, and found no features consistent with human skin.
Okay.
Just so I'm clear, are you indicating that's a clump of hair?
No, I
Mr. Lang, are you referring to what was found in the sink, in the bathroom, versus the bathtub? This is the bathtub.
bathtub. That's exactly what I'm referring to.
Yeah. You want both of them? Just this one.
Do you need some more money?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at the bullet.
Okay.
You want the report that you have?
I'm gonna just approach you and use that mark as just for,
You want that marked out, the last one they showed me?
yes,
You have that?
yeah.
I get back to Mr. Lang.
Any objection to his submission? No.
You want 67, 68? Is that what you're showing me?
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Okay.
I've got pictures that coincide with those already admitted exhibits. So
So that's the bullet that they found in his apartment. I believe that's the bullet.
I would be correct in stating that this bullet fragment, this is a spent bullet, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. And as far, did you inspect that piece of evidence yourself?
No, sir, I did not.
All right. But you can look at the pictures and that looks like it's a little bit corroded or rusty, correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. So it looks like it's been sitting in water for quite some time, correct?
I can't tell you how long it's been sitting in the water, but it is corroded, yes, sir.
Okay. And would this be the same thing on the report 94 dated February 27th? Would this be the same bullet that was, I guess, looked at by the Michigan State Police Crime Lab to see if it matched being fired from the gun that was also taken from Mr. Booker's apartment?
Is this, you're referring to the lab report you handed me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I would be correct in stating that the result of that examination by the Michigan State Police, as contained in exhibit number 94, is that the fired bullet is inconclusive as having been fired from item 20, Mr. Booker's pistol, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. So I'm assuming the purpose of sending it to the crime lab was to see if that matched up to the gun as maybe a possible means of killing Ms. Elkins, correct?
That's correct.
And it was determined that it would not have been involved by firing from that gun, correct?
I'm going to object. That's a mischaracterization of the evidence that's already been presented.
I'm sorry?
That's a mischaracterization of the evidence that's been presented. The report deems it inconclusive, not exclusive.
Inconclusive, okay.
Felt like he was being funny.
I'm gonna, I guess, mark another exhibit then. I'm gonna show you a Michigan State Police report dated February 20th, 25.
Yeah.
I don't know what, if it's been, it hasn't been marked as an exhibit, so I'll mark it as exhibit C for the defense.
Can you get that back, sir? You want that?
May I approach this?
No, this one back.
My copy. You have.
This is the one you gave me.
Okay.
Just hang on to it.
Would I be correct if I can ask you a question on this? Is this that same bullet, the same gun that was sent to the Michigan State Police Crime Lab and looked at to see if particles recovered from the pistol could be compared to the makeup of the bullet?
That's correct.
Okay. So in other words, the gun confiscated from Mr. Booker's apartment was test fired?
That's correct.
Okay. And when a gun is fired, particles shoot out, not just a bullet, but particles shoot out of the gun too, correct?
Fragments, yes,
You know, some fragments of steel from the, I guess, inside of the gun. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay. And so the makeup of the metal or particles from the gun were compared to the makeup of the bullet, correct? To see if, again, that bullet would have been fired from that particular gun.
I'm gonna object. It sounds like he's asking him to interpret the process that the Michigan State Police did to test that bullet, and I don't think he's qualified to do that. We can agree to admit the lab report, but he can't interpret the results, and he can't say what the procedure is for doing.
I was just trying to make my, I guess, format or whatever, but if you want to,
Well, is there any objection to the admission of
agree
exhibit
to
C?
admit that this is
No.
a defense exhibit, C or D, whatever we're on.
All right, we'll be in
Go
there.
from there.
No, there's no objection.
There's no objection to
The admission of
the
the report.
admission, correct, Judge.
Okay.
Our concern is,
I understand what
Asking
you're
to
saying.
interpret the,
and
Yeah.
I think Mr. Lang is misinterpreting it himself in the question,
Well, I don't
and that's where the problem starts.
know about that, but we'll get to that. Now, would I be correct in the results portion here, particularly what's been kind of highlighted in the report in blue? Could you read that sentence?
Yes, sir. In my opinion, these tested particles from the pistol originated from a pistol primarily copper, which includes ammunition components such as item number 22, limited association.
And that's on page 1 of that
Yes, sir.
report. And I'm going to go to, I guess, the second page of the report, again, under the results category, and ask you to read the final 2 sentences out loud of that report, starting.
Yes, sir. The tested particles recovered inside the barrel were dissimilar in appearance and elemental content to the bullet, item 22. In my opinion, these tested particles from the pistol did not originate from this bullet or other ammunition components that are primarily copper. Elimination.
And when you say elimination of the deadness, and I would be correct in stating on the second page of the report, similar to the DNA report, it kind of tells you what they mean when they say limited association, elimination, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And I would be correct in stating that they did highlight in blue limited association, correct?
That's correct.
And they also highlighted in red the elimination, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And could you read out loud what the elimination portion says?
Yes, sir. Elimination or non-association. The items were dissimilar in physical properties and or chemical composition, indicating that they did not originate from the same source.
So are you qualified to answer, I guess, the question as to whether or not they're telling you in this report that this particular bullet fragment did not come from Mr. Booker's gun?
I can only interpret what their synopsis was, just as anybody else can. I have no formal training or experience in the extraction of bullets or fragments, or how to identify that in any manner.
But did you take that as proof that that bullet did not come from Mr. Booker's gun?
objection, he's asking him to interpret the results, which is what he just said in connection. It's speculation.
What's the purpose of introducing that MSP report that you agreed that it be admitted, right?
The results of the report is admitted as an exhibit, but now he's asking him to interpret what that means. And he's just said he cannot follow, he's not
Well,
qualified.
all right, I'll sustain the objection, but the report has been admitted.
It has
I will
been.
take that into consideration.
Okay.
It's determination of whether or not that's
So,
relevant to this case.
so the author of this report was Troy Ernst, correct? From
MSP?
State Police Crime Lab.
That's correct.
So he would be the person who could testify and answer my question as to whether or not that bullet came from Mr. Booker's gun, correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, Ashley Elkins has been missing since January 2nd, correct?
That's correct, sir.
As far as you know, that's the last time anybody has seen her, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. As the lead detective in this homicide case, can you tell me with any type of specificity how do you know that Ms. Elkins is in fact dead?
Well, me personally, I would say there's no activity on her bank account. She doesn't have a working cell phone. She hasn't communicated with her children or any members of her family, which is extremely unlike her based on my experiences. And speaking with her family, she's a mother of 2 young children, one of which suffers from some form of autism, which relies heavily on both parents, especially Miss Elkins, who they reside with.
And I understand that might be your opinion. What I'm asking is, do you have any actual proof that she's dead and not alive?
Definitive proof? No, sir.
Okay. Do you have any proof as to how she died?
Me myself, or are you asking about all the evidence?
I'm asking about actual physical proof of whether or not she died from a gunshot wound.
I can't speculate it was a gunshot wound.
Do you have any proof that she died because of strangulation?
No, sir.
Do you have any proof that she died by being stabbed?
No, sir.
So you have no proof or evidence of what may have caused her death if she is dead, correct?
That's true. To some capacity, yes,
I
sir.
have no further questions.
Thank you.
So he tried to make it seem like he had a good argument towards the end there, but honestly, it's a yes and no with his questioning. But he has evidence that points to his client committing a crime, which he's being accused of as of right now. Yeah, they have a lot of that. No cause of death because he got rid of her body. So, but that's his argument. But that was the only argument he ever put up, is towards the end. That wasn't really an argument, more so, not to me at least. It was a cheap shot.
Sergeant, you had testified just now, indicated she went missing on January 2nd.
That's correct.
Throughout your investigation, obviously we've talked a lot about this dumpster. What did you do with the information that her blood, or what is it found to be her blood, was found in that dumpster? Did you take that and do any further investigation at all?
Yes, ma'am. Once that dumpster was collected, it was brought to another facility where we determined that it was brought to the Lenox Township dump site. And myself, along with a bunch of other members from surrounding police agencies, performed a thorough and in-depth search of that generalized location at the Lenox Township dump.
Were you just searching anywhere, or did you have a particular area that you searched?
No, ma'am. Their engineers were able to pinpoint an exact grid location of where that exact dumpster was, in fact, dropped off at the Lenox Township dump site. So we had a grid in which we were able to kind of pinpoint where Miss Elkins would be, and we searched that grid for 7 straight days.
Do you know when that search started?
Yes, ma'am. Hang on one second. I'll refer to my report. January 13th through January 19th
The
of
January
2025,
January 13th of 2025, so that would be,
Monday.
and the dumpster was taken January 4th, correct?
That's correct.
Were you ever made aware of whether there was other dumpsters that had been put on top, like other trash put on top of the pile that came from that dumpster?
Once we were made aware of the dumpster being transitioned to the dump facility, members of the Roseville Police Department reached out to the Lenox Township dump and ceased all dumping, I guess you could say, on that exact grid.
And so you did this extensive search of the landfill. Did you find Ashley?
No, ma'am.
Going back to some of the initial questions that Fence Council was asking, when it comes to, when a 911 call comes into dispatch, who actually speaks to the caller?
The 911 dispatcher.
And does the 911 dispatcher then directly connect the caller to whatever unit is going to take the run?
No, ma'am.
So how does that information get relayed?
It has to be transferred to our dispatch center, and then they would dispatch it to a corresponding Roseville police officer. So
So a dispatcher gets information and then relays that, summarizes it and relays it to whatever unit's going to respond, right?
that's correct.
Defense is also asking you about a tip that Ashley may have been at Eileen Street in Detroit, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever find anything throughout your investigation, or even to this day, that leads you to believe that Ms. Elkins was at Eileen Street at any point?
No, ma'am, not a single piece of evidence.
So what did your investigation lead you to believe?
That she never made any sort of contact or knew anybody that resided at that Eileen address. It was simply miscommunication or someone that just had irrelevant information about anything to do with the Eileen Street address.
So defense counsel was also asking you specifically first about the Motor City Pond videos and how, you know, whether or not you could tell who that was. Did you just rely on the Motor City Pond video to conclude that that was the defendant?
No, ma'am, there was multiple pieces of other evidence that we used.
Okay, so what else did you use?
Cell phone pings, other CCTV footage from surrounding areas, his Uber account information that would correspond his route to Glendale, and based on his confirmation of him getting picked up from Uber, and then once we obtained his Uber information, it would show his path as well.
So
Ma'am, if I may, I also reached out to the FBI and had them triangulate a map of his cell phone data, which would show his locations throughout the city of Roseville and other places already mentioned in earlier testimony as well.
And then you reviewed the footage from Hampton Court and Colonial Village yourself throughout your investigation, correct?
That's correct.
At any point throughout your viewing of that footage, were you able to see the face of the person who was walking around in the coat with furry hood?
In the very first part where DeAndre is turning into the parking lot, you can get a good depiction of his face.
I got what's been marked as People Proposed Exhibit 184. Can you tell me what's depicted in this picture?
Yes, ma'am, that's DeAndre Booker, based on his attire found at the Flint address with the Carhartt hat, blue Tommy Hilfiger jacket with the fur-rimmed hood, and it shows his exact facial features down to his beard.
And this is this a screenshot from footage that you yourself viewed?
That's correct, ma'am.
Are you able to see the date? It's difficult. Hold on.
January 2nd, 2025 at 12:33.
Move for the admission of people's proposal at 184.
No objection.
What will be a minute? What time did you say?
January 2nd, 2025 at 12:33.
So the
Hold on,
person,
just one second. 12:33?
Yes.
Morning or?
Afternoon.
so the person.
What's good? Yeah,
that's
bud.
in the
Appreciate
photo,
you
said
pulling up.
See the face, correct?
That's correct.
And that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing more live.
Here, correct?
That's correct.
And the hat
Yes, ma'am.
and the hood.
Yes, ma'am.
And does all of that match what you found in the hood?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that similar to what you've seen on any of the other footage around Hampton Court and Colonial Village through the time span of the January 2nd through the January 5th?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not just a blurry black and white video that led you to believe that that was the defendant going by Motor City Law, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
He's cooked.
I just want to go back to the search of the landfill for just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
You had talked about that you had engineers who kind of found an area where
Yes,
the trash would have been deposited. So how big was the grid that you searched during that time period, if you can recall?
I believe to kind of put it in layman's terms for us, it was the size of 3 football fields.
So did you only search the surface, or how did the search go?
We peeled back. We believe their engineers were able to tell us that she was anywhere from 10 feet to about 25 or 30 feet below the surface. So we just peeled back a few inches at a time in hopes of recovering her body.
So going back to the discussion that defense was having regarding the paints. So you agree that there's not an exact location, or you didn't get an exact location on the phones, correct? That's what you were saying?
That's correct.
But there was a discussion about how the defendant and Ashley's phone were pinging near Kelly Beauty Supply.
That's correct.
Was there anything else in your investigation that led you to believe, in fact, that the defendant was at Kelly Beauty Supply?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me about that.
So his Uber account information, we had his Uber Tan Equinox on CCTV footage, which corroborated with his Uber account history. We were able to get a plate that matched that came back to that Tan Equinox. Ms. Barksdale also testified that she was with him at the same time that his phone pinged and triangulated at Kelly Beauty Supply. And that she confirmed he was with her. And that timestamp also correlated with the same time the phone pings as well, ma'am.
The defense was also asking you about it was People's Exhibit 35. That was the material that was recovered from the drain by Officer Devazzi, and that
Also move.
no, Exhibit 35.
Oh, the flesh?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
That was examined by Dr. Petrangelo.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, that's what we were discussing was what was recovered by Officer Devazzi, not Officer Newford, correct?
That's correct.
So going to, do you still have Defense Exhibit C, the report number 9 up there?
Are you referring to these?
No, the report number 9, Defense Exhibit C.
Michigan State report?
Yes,
I'll put it on the screen.
we're just gonna put it up on the screen. So, Mr. Lang asked you to just read a couple portions from the report, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's look at just a little bit more than what Mr. Lang asked you to read. We're looking, let's see, start with the information. Can you read what it says under information, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Mr. DeFranco, can you lower it just a little bit, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Information. Questioned particles were recovered from various locations on the pistol. Item number 20, locking block, breech face, ejector port, inside barrel for examination in comparison to a partial apparent bullet. Item number 22.
And what were the full results from that examination?
Full results read the tested particles recovered from the locking block and some of the tested particles recovered from the breech face of item 20 were generally similar in elemental composition to the bullet, item number 22. These tested particles and the bullet were primarily copper. In my opinion, these tested particles from the pistol originated from a source that was primarily copper, which includes ammunition components such as item number 22. Because it is not known if ammunition components of this composition are common or uncommon, the strength of this association is limited, level 4, limited association. The remainder of the tested particles recovered from the breech face and tested particle recovered from the ejector port of item 20 were dissimilar in elemental composition to the bullet, item number 22. These particles were primarily a combination of copper and zinc. These tested particles recovered from the inside of the barrel were dissimilar in appearance and elemental content to the bullet, item number 22. In my opinion, these tested particles from the pistol did not originate from this bullet or other ammunition components that were primarily copper. Elimination. Yes, ma'am.
So from what you just read,
Oops, my bad, y'all.
some of the items tested were consistent and some were not. Is that fair to say?
Objection, there's not a word consistent or inconsistent in that entire report.
Okay. Some were associated and some were eliminated. I do apologize. Thank you. Some were associated and some were eliminated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So the defense was asking you, can you definitively say she's dead? What proof do you have? Did you uncover in your investigation? What evidence led you to believe and submit a warrant request that for DeAndre Booker for the homicide of Ashley?
First off is multiple inconsistencies while speaking to me on a recorded line that just did not add up. His timeline for everything was very inconsistent. The sheer fact that something violent happened inside of that apartment building, particularly in the bathroom, and then him being observed on CCTV footage with the shopping cart, you can tell that there's something heavy inside of that shopping cart just by the sheer sound on that ring camera footage. The fact that his inconsistencies, not one was found to be true, which is why we were able to take him into custody. And then all the blood evidence that we found, the blood that was found inside of the dumpster that came back to Ashley Elkins, nobody else. And the blood on the jacket that was Mr. DeAndre Booker was found to be wearing and found at the Flint address that also belonged to only Ashley Elkins, confirmed by DNA. And that there is no proof that she ever left DeAndre Booker's residence after arriving there on the morning of January 2nd.
Anything further on this one?
Yeah, just in terms of the surveillance cameras, I'm correct in stating that there's no cameras or surveillance cameras from the apartment that show if you walk out of Mr. Booker's apartment and head down the sidewalk east to Pinehurst. At some point in time, before somebody actually gets to Pinehurst, there's no video of that in the complex, correct?
That's correct, sir.
So it's quite possible that somebody could leave Mr. Booker's apartment and go head east towards Pinehurst and not be seen by a camera, correct? That's surveillance, correct?
That's correct.
So again, if Ashley left that apartment on her own accord and headed east toward Pinehurst, there might not be anything on the video surveillance of the apartment complex that would catch that, correct?
That's correct.
I see what the defense is saying, but yeah, it's the lack of social media activity. Her family has not seen her in X, Y, and Z amount of days and months. But he's trying to argue because they didn't see her leaving the apartment. That's not necessarily saying that something happened to her in the apartment. That's the defense argument, but he's trying, but it's a bad try. It's a failure to me, in my opinion. But I see what he's saying, but no.
Now, with regard to
You forget about all the other overwhelming evidence that was also inside of the apartment, like her blood, her DNA, her hair, her jewelry. Him calling his step niece or adopted niece or whoever she is to move her vehicle, and her phone her phone being pinged at that last location that they both were at. Circumstantial, but it all points to him being the actual primary, perpetrator in this case.
I want to go back to
Not to mention the Google searches. He also had shown right there killed him.
information regarding her, Miss Elkins, being located somewhere on Eileen in Detroit. That tip came from Mrs. Elkins, correct? Monica Elkins.
I don't recall where that tip came
I mean,
from.
somebody texted her phone,
I believe someone reached out to her with that information.
and then that information, from my understanding, was at 2:43 p.m. on January 4th.
I don't know the date and time, sir. Sorry.
And Detroit officers went to that location, correct?
Judge, I'm objecting to ask and answer. We've already
I
gone.
mean, but look, this is within his realm of knowledge.
Well, it's asked and answered.
We've already gone through this. What additional
Well,
questions?
I'm going into his opinion about why she wasn't there.
Go
And
ahead,
I think I
go ahead.
can ask him some specific questions about what he
Go ahead,
knows
Mr. Lang.
regarding that. If she went there on her own or was taken there and didn't have her phone on her, there would be no proof that she was actually there, correct?
I'm object to speculation.
And is that what you were looking for when you said, well, part of the reason we didn't believe that she was there was because we had no, phone pings, no information that she was actually physically there.
Overruled. Go ahead. You can answer the question.
I had no reason or knowledge or any sort of evidence to believe that she had any affiliation with anybody at Eileen Street, at the Eileen Street address.
But my question is, she could have been there without a phone, correct? You would have no way of knowing that she was there if her phone wasn't pinging in that location, correct? Because she didn't have it on her.
So now his
Sure.
attorney is trying to argue about a fake tip that Ashley Elkins was last seen at the location that she was not actually at. And he's basically trying to say, what if she was there? But if she was there, she would not have a phone. That would explain why the pinging went off. But the last ping showed her location at Kelly Beauty Supply, which is pretty much on the east suburb, like in the East Point area, which is like in the east side of Detroit area, closer to it. The street he's mentioned, I believe, is on the west side.
And you were informed that when officers went to that location, they found spent bullet casings at the location, correct?
That's true.
And that the place was locked up. It had bars all over the porch and locked up, correct?
I wasn't made aware of that.
And were you aware that you were aware that people who supposedly lived at that location did not give consent to a search for her, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And were you informed that one of the occupants stated the name of the owner, and when somebody came to the apartment and said they were the owner, it was a person with a different name?
That I'm not aware of.
Did you get any information from the Detroit Police Department that they had information that the people who were actually at that location on Eileen were squatters, that they didn't own the home or rent the home?
I was never made aware of that either, sir.
Good evening to you, Tarsha. Welcome in.
Do you
Appreciate you.
know who took the call? Was it Officer Triwella that took the phone
My
calls
guys in the
from
bushes, don't forget to hit that like button if you can.
the Detroit Police Department that
Keep
afternoon?
pulling up.
I don't
You
know
can
that.
drop your thoughts in the chat as well, too, so I ain't up there talking to you. For real. It's hard for a few folks in the chat,
Now, with regard to the search of the landfill, you said that the dumpster disposal company, waste management company, whoever that may have been, could pinpoint as to where that dumpster was put in the contents of the dumpster were put into the landfill, correct?
That's correct.
And they had it narrowed down to, you said, I don't want to misspeak, but you said about a 900 foot
That's correct.
rectangle or something?
About that, yes, sir.
Okay. And they said that because they're getting garbage every day, they told you that it might be 8-10 feet underneath the garbage that was currently there?
There was some footage underneath, correct?
Okay. And I'm correct in stating that dumpsters, I'm sorry, bulldozers and stuff kind of carefully went over and dug down or scraped off enough newer garbage and debris to make it possible to look for what may have been dumped there on January 4th.
That's correct.
And I would be correct in stating that there were no items that were found in the landfill that belonged to Ms. Elkins, correct?
Correct, sir.
So no clothing, correct?
Correct.
No shower curtain, correct?
Correct.
And there was something that somebody brought back. I'm going to show you what I guess I'll mark as Defense Exhibit E or wherever we're at.
I'm wondering, relevance? Just that something was found and it wasn't.
Can I hand you what's, I guess, the mark wherever I'm at, D or E?
If you're familiar with this case, let me know. And if you're not, but I'll just, recap. This is day 3 of Ashley Elkins' preliminary hearing. She's a mother of 2 from the Detroit area who went missing earlier January of 2025 of this year. They never found her body. It was believed that her ex-boyfriend is the murder suspect that unalived her and got rid of her at a landfill. That's what it's saying.
That's right, D.
Would I be correct in stating that somebody there who was looking through the dumpster to find Ms. Elkins collected what they thought was a piece of a scalp with hair, correct?
Initially, when we found that, sir, yes. Correct.
Yes. And again, was that item given to
Asking the same question.
medical examiner Petrangelo,
Witness is
County
getting
medical examiner to examine to see if it actually was a human scalp?
Once we found that at the dig site in Lenox Township, we brought out a member of the Macomb County Medical Examiner's Office who examined it and could not make a definitive determination while on scene there. So it was collected as evidence and then turned over to the Macomb County Medical Examiner's Office for further testing.
Okay. And then Ms. Petrangelo, the Macomb County Medical Examiner, sent you back a report that said that in her opinion, it was not a human scalp, it was something from an animal.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And that's what that exhibit indicates, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Any objection?
I would ask, did he have any pets or own any pets?
I have no further questions.
Anything further?
Yes, Sergeant, was blood consistent with Ashley found at Onion Street?
No, ma'am.
Where was blood consistent with Ashley found?
Around Pinehurst, in the dumpster inside of DeAndre Booker's apartment, and on DeAndre Booker's clothing.
And with regard to the landfill search, when you say pin location,
I like how her redirect is trying to bring it back to the relevant points that she made in the beginning to her argument of where her blood was found and where she was possibly last seen at, and not try to throw off by some far-fetched idea like the defense threw out where she was not actually at. It was a fake tip that was alleged that she was at this place when she was not there.
and did they say this is the exact spot where this was dumped and all the garbage from this dumpster is going to for sure be in this area?
Correct.
Good. No further questions.
I have a question regarding the landfill. You indicate that the engineers informed the police department that they could pinpoint where the dumpster would have dropped the garbage. Obviously, it was a huge area, 3 football fields, and also you indicated earlier, it's many, many feet deep.
Correct, sir.
The testimony is that there was no evidence of the remains of Ashley Elkins. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Can you form an opinion as to whether or not, because you didn't find it there, that it must not have been anywhere in the dump area?
I think that because it was such a broad area and such a large environment, we were finding mail from the surrounding area of Roseville in the vicinity of Pioneer Street. So we knew we were in the correct area at the landfill. We just were unlucky in our efforts of finding Ashley.
In your opinion, based on the size of the landfill and the depth of the landfill, is it possible that the remains of Ashley Elkins could be there?
In my opinion, yes, sir. It could have been overlooked just due to the vast majority of the amount of trash that was there, the large area that we had to cover, and using a bulldozer with, I mean, you can only go down, I'm not an expert in heavy machinery like that, but it's possible that she was missed by all individuals involved due to just the sheer amount of garbage that was there. No problem.
Anything further?
No, you're not.
Following up with the judge's questions, my understanding that for 7 days, and I'm assuming that the bulldozers kept over the course of 7 days going deeper and deeper and deeper, correct?
Correct, sir.
And you found mail belonging to other people that lived on Pinehurst or in that neighborhood, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So you're pretty confident that you were in the right 900 feet of space that they told you this might have been where it was, correct?
Correct.
All right. And it's my understanding that there were dozens of officers out there every day, all day for 7 days, correct?
That's correct.
Officers from all kinds of different departments, true?
Correct.
And also every day that there was searching, there were drones being flown over the landfill, correct?
That's correct.
There were cadaver dogs being used by trained officers to see if they could sniff out a body,
That's
correct?
correct, sir.
And nothing was found.
That's correct.
I have no further questions.
Anything further?
No, you're not.
Sorry, let me step down.
Thank you.
432.
Well, that's kind of people. No?
We're not gonna be able to.
Yeah, we're not going to continue because obviously we're not going to finish, even if both parties have concluded. I don't know if defense is calling witnesses or not. Read the summaries are going to take quite some time. I will ask that, if you have any witnesses, and Mr. Lane, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, I will, and they're mostly police officers, a couple that were on Mr. DeFranco's list when we talked about this a few weeks ago that haven't testified, that I thought would testify, a couple that might have to testify because Officer Lesperance wasn't really, couldn't really answer some of the questions that I wanted to have answered. So I was going to try to, over the weekend or no later than Monday, contact Mr. DeFranco and narrow this down. I was trying to narrow it down from, I had a list of maybe 9 or so police officers, but I've narrowed that down and hopefully it can make it just 3 or 4 that I would like to call, I guess, as witnesses, and then we can end this. I would hope at the next day, and I don't know if we wanted to look at days in the chambers or what might be available to each of the parties with Mr. DeFranco. I know as a court release lead prosecutor in, so I'm sure he's busier than we were.
And what about you? Do you know if you're calling any further witnesses?
Judge,
You have not rested yet.
I have not rested it, and I'm asking the court to just allow us a little bit of time to consult when we come back the next time, if I do intend to call one or two other witnesses, based on the questioning of Mr. Lang here at the end of the day, they will be brief, but I want to have that in reserve if I can.
And that's totally fair.
So you won't even be able to know until probably Monday as to who it is that you may call, because you have to talk to Mr. Franco about it. I indicated earlier that most of the district court judges in the state are going to be going to a conference, which begins Tuesday.
I was wondering why I didn't have any cases scheduled next week.
So I don't know, do you want to look at your calendars now as to do Roland Chambers or do it here? Whatever you want.
We can do it in whatever your Honor's pleasure is. My week of the 25th is very limited, and then I start a murder trial.
Let's try and do it on the 25th then.
Well, no, I can't do
No,
it.
I'm saying the week of the
Oh, yes.
25th. Yeah.
The 25th, I have to complete the explosion exam in Clinton Township.
I mean, if you're open, usually, I guess, from my
All right, let me
understanding,
tell you, let me tell you when
you're
I'm
usually open
I'll
on
just let you know,
Friday.
because we have regular dockets every day except for Friday. We have cases on Friday also, but normally I'll reserve it for things like this. But on the 25th, it's actually a good. You're not available on the 25th.
I'm not, I have to finish.
All right. The afternoon of the 27th is good, or the 29th is good.
I'm available neither of those days.
You're not available on the 27th?
I'm not. On the 27th, I have to finish the exam for the Shelby Lifetime Fitness kidnapping, carjacking, torture case.
Well, then, if that's the case, then it would take us to, we have to go to Labor Day, September 1st, I believe.
Yes.
So September 5th, we can do it.
That's the problem, Judge. I'm starting a murder trial September
All right, will you
3rd.
tell me when you're available? I don't, maybe I can.
And there's no possibility for the 22nd.
We can on the 22nd in the afternoon. I'm available in the afternoon.
I can do that, Judge.
Is that good for you?
Yes, Judge.
That would work for me.
We'll say 1 o'clock on the 22nd.
Yeah, and
What?
I'm hopeful that if I have a few witnesses, that they will be very quick and specific. So
Okay.
we
Well,
can try.
we'll try and get it wrapped up on that day, because if not, it just sounds like based on everyone's schedule, we may be going a long ways out. So. But at this,
Well, I guess that's the end of that. I didn't know that was going to happen, but they were just arguing administrative dates and calendar dates for the next day. I'm going to do day 4 tomorrow. As far as this day 3, most of the testimony came from Detective Lesperance, and some came from the defendant's niece or step niece. Everything points to him in this direction. But day 4 is going to bring it all together. It's going to pretty much recap everything that happened over the last 3 days, and we're going to do that tomorrow. So I thank you guys for pulling up. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Peace to tomorrow.